All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Toyota Series, Potomac River going down. Obviously, there's a bunch of events going down for MLF. They're down at Shawan, down in North Carolina. I know some people don't pronounce that right. And the Delta. So there's a lot, California. There's a lot going down for MLF this week. So they are lock, stop, and busy. Rain moved in on the Potomac River, but all in all, pretty standout day. I had predicted, if you saw a previous video, about 50 pounds, which is probably low now. But I figured, based on what we had seen in some BFL events and what I've seen out on the river, that probably 50 pounds would probably win it. Now it'll probably be a little bit more than that. We'll see what happens with this rain now. It's soaking everything up. But today, two 20-pound bags. So the top three, 20.2, 20.1, and then a 1904 in the top three on the boater side for the Toyota Series. So that was a bigger bag than at least that I expected. I mean, maybe some other people expected a little bit different. Just on what I had seen the prior two BFL events. 17 pounds won the last BFL event back on May 18th. They're here right around the same time as a couple other events in the past. So in first place, 20.2 pounds is Todd Rose from Connecticut, and this is only like his third. I think I heard his third event. Just maybe his fourth event, but people are talking whether or not this was his third or fourth event ever. From Connecticut and logging in over 20 pounds today. In that Potomac grass, which is crazy sick. We're gonna hear about that later on here in the week. But in the last 2 weeks, grass is just freaking bloomed. I mean, like in the Potomac River in a lot of areas, and in some areas that you probably wouldn't think, because there maybe hadn't been some grass there in years past. And then some other areas like Greenway Flats, which always has grass, which is where I tend to fish the most out of Marshall Hall on the Maryland side. Again, thick grass, and a lot of people, dude. A lot of people stacked up there on the flats today. For sure, because the grass is there, the bass are going to be there. That's typically it. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out of that over 2 days or 3 days. So we had 16-pound, basically in your top 10. To hit the top 10 on the boater side, you had to get about 16 pounds, which is about what these BFL events have had in their top fives. Have been about, again, 17 winning and 16 and a bunch of 15. So that's pretty consistent. Outside the top 10, you dropped into that 15 zone, which has been pretty consistent for the last two events so far. You had to get 14 pounds, if my paper's all wet because of the rain. You had to get 14 pounds, if my math is correct, to get into the top 50. Okay, so it gives you kind of an idea of the day on the Potomac. So 20.2, 20.1, and 19.4. Michael Catt at a 6-pound. Big small, geez, wrong series. Big largemouth on the Potomac River to win big bass, $500 for the day. For that, on the co-angler side, there was a 5-pounder that led the co-angler side. Now the co-angler Strike King co-angler side of this event for Toyota Series Potomac River getting interesting. I mean, that was absolutely every bit as fun watching as the boater side because of how tight it was. And because you got some local Maryland guys duking it out that know the river really, really well. Okay, you got Roland Giddings. He is in first place, 17 pounds today. Followed by Jerry Piles. Most people who fish in Maryland are very familiar with Jerry. 16.09. Followed by Jeff Malot. I'm assuming that's Malot and not Malott. At 15.09 from Pennsylvania. Both Roland and Jerry come from Maryland, okay? From Perryville. I think Roland's from Perryville, and Jerry's definitely Middletown. Okay, those guys are known. Like, they're known. Like, Roland's fished like 33 events. Okay, Jerry's probably almost pushing 100 events with a lot of runs. Like, he's got like probably 5 or 6 top 5s or top 10. Sorry, on the Potomac alone. He's won the event before. In the past, I think back in 13. I don't think Roland's ever won an event, but he's finished in the top 10 at least twice that I can remember on the Potomac. And then Jeff's fished like over 50 events, and he's got like 12 top 10s, and I think he has a victory on the Potomac River. I want to say back in 2022. Maybe in 2021. So all three of those guys have got massive experience fishing the Potomac River this time of year, and they're just going at it. So about 3 pounds. Co-anglers are about 3 pounds. At least Roland's 3 pounds off from what the top boater got at 20 pounds. But a lot of the other co-anglers are right there at 16, 15, 15, 15, 15, 14, 14. Right in there with what's happening on the boater side. So really, really interesting setup for tomorrow. Hopefully we're not going to have any more technical difficulties for day 2 and day 3 for Toyota Series. So we'll try and do some live and do some stuff from the river. Hopefully, we're not dealing with the rain at launch, and we're not dealing with all that. We'll see what happens with the rain, whether it changes this dynamic up. Again, Michael Catt in second place with really, it's like at 20.1 versus 20.2. Catching that 6-pounder. He's from Florida, and by listening to people and the likes, it's no surprise he's in the top right now, top 5, because it's grass fishing, baby. I mean, it is grass, and more grass. And you know what? Not sure what bait he was throwing today, but there were sure as heck a lot of frogs tied on. A lot of frogs, a lot of chatterbaits, swim jigs, things like that tied on today. So we'll see if this weather, as it continues to rain a little bit in the overnight, what that does to the fishery tomorrow morning. But the weights are pretty solid. The weights were above what they've been for the past 2 BFL events. So that's a good sign. I have not had time to check on what's happening down in Shawan, down there on that river down in North Carolina for the Bass Pro Tour. There were some massive massive fish caught in the pre-fish. I'm talking like 8 and 9 pounders caught during pre-fishing. Have not checked out to see. I think Group B would be today. Day 2, Group B, I guess. Down there to see how things are going on down there. When you got these events, I would have loved to have gone down there for that event. It's the first time a lot of those guys have ever fished that river. Would have been a cool event to get to, but when you got an event in your backyard and you got stuff happening on your home river, it's kind of hard to pass up. So I know they got a lot of these events kind of double up on each other around the country. But I would have definitely liked to have gotten down there to check that out, because I think that's great. MLF is going to places that they've never gone before. I hope that continues. I hope Bass learns that lesson and goes to some new places in 2025. Instead of the same places that just you kind of know who's going to show out. You kind of know who's going to win sometimes. You know what I mean? It just, history tells us. If you're picking your fantasy picks for Bass Elite Series or MLF, when they go to the same places over and over. I just think it's really cool when they go to new places. Obviously, I understand the BFLs, have got great relationships with the Potomac River in terms of the divisions. It's the Northern Division now, or Northeast, and this is the BFL, and then the Northern Toyota. And I hope they continue to come back at least. But I kind of understand why. You got a lot of stuff going on. A lot of people don't know about. But there's a lot of stuff going on in Maryland and Virginia now with largemouth bass. People need to get involved and get engaged. I'm just saying, 15-inch minimum this time of year. You know what I mean? And when your tournaments, that could determine whether or not a tournament continues to come and fish. If you got a 15-inch minimum until the middle of June, that you're allowed to have in your live well and you're allowed to score, obviously, and catch during some of these events, that could skew some tournaments to say, we'll come later on. I mean, I know with a lot of people in the state, that's their intent, is they don't want people fishing during that spawn or that post-spawn period. But we'll see. We could easily lose these events to another fishery, simply based on a lot of the regulations that are coming. And there are going to be more coming, targeting largemouth bass, just like we've seen in Maryland, them go after striped bass. They're coming. Okay, and it's just, there could be shutdowns, and there's going to be times period where not only professionals but also us aren't going to be able to fish. So everyone's got to pay attention to that. Okay, it's great to always have these professional events here on the river, but at the same time, when they're not here, we kind of need to do our best to ensure that they can come back. You know what I'm saying, and continue to fish at the high level. Otherwise, we're going to lose these events, and these are great events to have for Charles County. For all the counties in the Potomac River watershed, really, as we draw a lot of these events here. Hopefully we can continue to do so. But congrats to the Coes guys, the Maryland guys, top 2 right now, as well as Jeff from Pennsylvania for the Strike King Co-Angler. And then top 3, Toyota Series, day 1, Toyota Series, top 3, Todd Rose, 20.02, Michael Catt, 20.01, and Tony Dickerson at 19.04.